Commander Thexnor had prepared the threat assessment briefing for weeks. The apex hunters were the most dangerous predators documented in the known galaxy, creatures so lethal that 3 fleets had been required to contain a single specimen. The briefing room fell silent as he activated the holographic display. The footage showed the creature in all its terrible glory, a massive quadruped with serrated teeth, razor claws, and predatory intelligence that could cut through reinforced armor plating. The video documented its hunting technique, a synchronized pattern of movement that indicated pack hunting capability. 17 military strategists had analyzed the footage. All 17 concluded that individual confrontation with an apex hunter was a death sentence. This species represents an existential threat to any colony world, Thexnor announced gravely. We have established a no-contact protocol. Any sighting requires immediate evacuation and fleet support. The briefing room consisted of military leaders from a dozen different alien species. They all nodded in agreement. Except for one human. Captain Sarah Mitchell sat in the back row with her hand raised. Captain Mitchell? Thexnor called, somewhat annoyed at the interruption. Sir, Sarah said calmly, I walked one to school as a kid. The room erupted into confused silence. Several alien officers made sounds of disbelief. One Carillion commander actually stood up, thinking perhaps he had misheard. Clarify, Thexnor demanded, his mandibles clicking with agitation. On Earth, we call them mountain lions, Sarah continued, settling back in her chair. Or cougars, or pumas, depending on the region. They're common enough that wildlife management teams have to occasionally relocate them away from populated areas. You encountered this creature, casually, a Valorian officer asked, his vocal cords producing frequencies of shock. Yeah, several times actually, Sarah nodded. There was one that used to hunt near my neighborhood. Saw it padding across the road to school once. Everyone just went about their day. The local rangers tracked it for a while, made sure it wasn't aggressive, then mostly left it alone. Thexnor stared at the holographic image, then back at Sarah. This creature destroyed a mining facility. Killed 40 soldiers. Did the soldiers try to trap it or provoke it? Sarah asked. They attempted containment when it approached their perimeter. Yeah, that'll do it, Sarah said. They're ambush hunters. Solitary. They avoid humans generally. If you surround one and try to contain it, you're forcing it into a corner. It'll fight like anything else would. A crystalline strategist leaned forward. But the teeth, the claws, surely you did not engage it directly? Of course not, Sarah laughed. We just gave it space. That's literally how you coexist with apex predators on Earth. You understand their territory, you don't infringe on it, and they leave you alone. Most of the time, they're actually pretty shy. This cannot be accurate, another officer declared. You are a fragile species. How could you possibly share a world with such creatures? Sarah stood up and walked to the holographic display. She pointed at the creature's physical dimensions. What's this, 300 kilos? Maybe 350? They're fast, but they're not particularly durable. Earth had way worse. She pulled up Earth's prehistoric database on the adjacent screen. Saber-toothed tigers. Dire wolves. Apex predators that could actually bring down herds of massive prey. Humans evolved alongside these, she explained. We didn't have claws or fangs, but we had weapons, intelligence, and pack coordination. By the time these mountain lions came around, they were actually one of the more manageable predators. Just required respect and common sense. Thexnor seemed to be processing a fundamental shift in his understanding of human nature. So you are saying, this creature that we have classified as an existential threat is basically just a big cat, Sarah finished. Yeah. Dangerous if you provoke it, but not anything special. Where I grew up, bears were probably more problematic. Now those were creatures that could do actual damage. The briefing room descended into chaos. Military strategists began arguing about the implications. If humans casually coexisted with apex predators, what did that mean for human military capacity? How had the human species survived to spacefaring age? Fexnor slowly powered down the holographic display, his mind reeling. "Gentlemen," he said quietly to the assembled officers, "I believe we have significantly underestimated the human species. Any species that treats apex predators as a minor wildlife inconvenience is far more dangerous than we calculated." He looked at Sarah, who had simply returned to her seat and was reviewing the next briefing document. "Captain Mitchell, your insights have been educational." Sarah smiled. "Back on Earth, we have a saying, there's always a bigger fish. You guys might want to keep that in mind." The briefing ended. No one spoke.